So hey y'all, I'm back with another video. So tonight's video is yet again another Chioma Chats video podcast edition. So by the title, we're going to be talking about the beef between rappers Nicki Minaj and Cardi B. Now, I know what some of y'all are thinking. Why the hell are you bringing up this old beef and why are you discussing this knowing that it is super controversial altogether? Well, the reason is because I have noticed the surge of female rap talents being super prominent over the past 3 to 5 years. And the time span of 3 to 5 years is large enough to be considered a mini era, meaning a time in history that certain specific trends and lifestyles are really popular. And I think we are definitely in the era of the female rappers and have been. So figures like Nicki Minaj and Cardi B are the two largest new school female rappers that have really been the powerhouse behind this era. And more Nicki being that she had her reign as what you can say is a sole proprietorship over the industry for the longest, definitely longer than 3 to 5 years. But like I said in my most recent Cardi B video, Cardi B definitely was like a resurge of female rappers being a part of this new school era. The two ladies are iconic in their own right. It's a little harder for me to give Cardi B that label, but she has shattered records and left an indelible impression on the female rap industry. But you have Nicki, who for years not only remained relevant, but also adapted to each era of music from 2007 up until now, all while setting records and standards. So when Cardi B stepped on the scene, many people expected her to have a temporary position. However, for many reasons, both good and bad, she was able to be successful beyond intent. So with that, the general public as well as the business side to the music industry began to input Cardi's name amongst the conversation of a Nicki Minaj. The issue Nicki fans and rap music listeners have with that is the two ladies are two completely different type of artists who, when you peel back the onion, don't really deserve to be discussed in the same sentence. Ironically, both ladies attended a music-based high school, but their approach to the actual professional world of music is completely different. Nicki Minaj's background shows the diligence and dedication to being a respected female MC through her multiple videotapes of her doing freestyles and putting in the work. Cardi B, on the other hand, really lucked up with the engine of social media and the modern idea of influencer and online clout being a cloverleaf for some people's careers. So you may say, so what if Nicki was always pursuing rap and Cardi B wasn't? But I think this does give credit to why there is a disconnect between the two, in addition to all of the drama. And I also think that point is the reason why the fan bases have the smoke that they do for one another, as often we as people like to argue a point of who deserves what by measuring how hard someone wanted it and how hard they worked for it. Moving forward, I'm more interested in revealing how this beef, but mainly how their long-standing animosity has affected the female rap industry or era. I don't think a lot of the general public and social media considers how this rift between the two biggest names in modern female rap culture has and will continue to create side effects for the entire genre. Over the past few years, I've slowly but surely noticed how much their beef has resulted in things that infiltrate the female rap industry in the present day. So I thought this was an interesting topic and also a different spin to this conversation of Cardi B versus Nicki Minaj than most people usually do. So I have broken this video down into 3 main talking points. So without further ado, let's get right into this video. So point number 1 is the effects of their beef. So I wanted to discuss the effects of their beef and how it affects the female rap industry. I'm going to preface by saying this video isn't really a battleground for people to aggressively promote who your fave is, but more or less to discuss how this beef has trickled down into others. But just to make that point of choosing one side or the other, I think that is the actual problem. Cardi B and Nicki Minaj have female rap music listeners at odds, and I think it would be a lie to say that they both are oblivious to the fact that their fan bases have caused the overall conflict. The fan bases, which is the Barbs versus Barty gang, have every right to go hard for their fave, but I think when it comes to actually executing the public side of what both rappers do, it does hurt both of their development. And not the development to be somebody because they already are somebody, but the development to put out music without the comparisons, the negativity, and even the support of other rappers in the industry. This idea of picking sides is really pushed through the crazy fans, but I think it's actually felt behind the scenes because over the past year or so, we have seen which female rappers have sided with other female rappers. I think it speaks to why female rap is lacking. When you have other names in the industry that can't work with Cardi or can't work with Nicki because they're cool with this person, or they made statements about this person, or their label or bandmate is at odds with this person, it does suppress the effectiveness of the content that comes out of all of these rappers. And I think that's the most annoying part of their beef. Of course, Nicki and Cardi collaborated at the beginning of Cardi's Cardi's career because everybody is kind of on a clean slate when they first come out. So that Motorsport song definitely was well perceived because they were being talked about in the same conversation. Nicki being the OG and Cardi being the newcomer with a lot of clout and relevance at that time. But they never collaborated after that, and that's when you saw how people actually became biased and started picking sides. Fans adapted to the beef and the industry felt the echo of having to restrict their creative development and collaborations because Nicki and Cardi don't get along. And to touch briefly on why, I think all of the theories have some validity to them. Some people say it's because Cardi B didn't give Nicki her flowers when she was first coming into the industry. Some people say it's because Nicki Minaj liked the tweet commenting on Cardi's parenting decisions. Some people say it's because Nicki is jealous of Cardi B's success for doing less than what she did. And some people say it's because Cardi tried to act better or act as if she didn't need Nicki during that point of her career. Some people say it's because Cardi was sent to take Nicki down. Some people do also chalk it up to the actual physical fight that they got into at New York Fashion Week where Cardi threw a shoe at Nicki. I think all of these theories probably have some type of validity to them. However, I don't really think it's enough for them to have real beef. I think it's so squashable and would be way more impactful and also lucrative if they were not at odds. And I actually predict that maybe in the next 10 years, they will be way more mature in life and decide to actually squash their beef. The same way Brandy and Monica are now kind of cool after their physical altercation, I can kind of foreshadow that Nicki and Cardi will look past this one day. I do hope. But like I said, this beef trickles into the industry because current female rap artists now have to tread lightly or pick and choose where their support goes. And I don't think it's fair for people in the rap game who look up to either figures or have respect for both figures that they can't voice their opinions or work with certain people or collaborate with other female artists because it means that they can't still be in support or want to work with the other at some point during their career. I think both Cardi and Nicki know this. They know that because their beef cascades into the artists who aren't as big as them, even if the artist is mainstream, they carry out the beef because essentially they pick up more soldiers as the beef continues. I remember I spoke about how JT of the City Girls tweeted a whole bunch of things about Nicki prior to fame, and then also her bandmate Young Miami stated that City Girls are Team Cardi. However, JT and Nicki have been able to move forward, and as much as I found it to be kind of fishy at first, it's also admirable because I think being able to set aside some of the petty and meaningless tension does a benefit for both individuals. But on the other hand, we have seen that certain artists who have worked with Cardi B or said anything in support of her don't get acknowledged by Nicki whatsoever. And it could be for many reasons. It could be that, or it could be that on the business side for both parties, there's really nothing there. But I think we all know that each side of this beef has supporters and opponents that somehow selected which side that they are on. And I think that's bad for the female rap industry because people act like you can't voice an opinion or have some type of discourse about Nicki Minaj or Cardi B just because you're in the rap industry. Nobody should feel that they have to suppress their thoughts, beliefs, intentions, or career goals just because two ladies don't like each other. There's so many collaborations that could have happened if this beef wasn't in place. Even the whole thing with Nicki versus Lotto. I thought both ladies made mistakes in that, but I also think both ladies were justified in defending themselves. But I feel like looking at the talent of both, a song together would be so much more worthwhile. But now they're at odds and probably won't ever work together. And then even on the side of Cardi B, due to certain artists having public support from Nicki Minaj or for Nicki Minaj, we probably won't see collaborations with Cardi B and other female artists like a JT or even Akbar. Essentially, their beef has spilled over into little sub-feuds, and this cold war between Nicki Minaj and Cardi B has really put a damper on the behind-the-scenes aspects of the industry. And I don't want to blame either Nicki or Cardi for that all the way, because I do think every other artist should be striving to make themselves the best they can be on an individual standpoint. But these are the two biggest names in female rap from the new school side. It's going to have prominent consequences on the public side where the fans can see the Twitter fights and listen to the disses in their tracks, and then also where the industry executives and other rap talents and intangible things like charts and streams are also affected by the aftermath. So point number 2 is discussing why is this ongoing? So of course I'm not either one of these ladies, nor am I that deep into the music industry to know why this beef is still ongoing. However, I'm going to give my opinions and my theories that support why I feel they are still at odds. I think of course due to the nature of the beef being that some parts of it stem from personal attacks on both ladies, that's enough to uphold any beef. However, I believe it's also still ongoing because not only does a beef like this create more attention for whatever body of work they put out, being that it's going to be critiqued by the other side's fan base, but having a beef like this is also drawing that firm line between what female rap is and should be versus what female rap has become. Now, to develop that point, what I'm saying is I think Nicki Minaj represents not just an era of rap, but just how how rap music for women in the industry should be. Of course, there are people who may not like Nicki Minaj's attitude. They may not like that she promotes overt sexualism. They may not like some of her personal life situations that don't have the most positive reflection on her. However, when it comes to the actual focus on what a traditional rapper is, Nicki Minaj embodies that. So I feel that she stands on her beef with Cardi, not because she can't get over petty words or a stupid altercation from years ago, but because she's preserving that authentic quality of her showing her placement in the rap game. I feel like Nicki probably feels that if she works with Cardi or has any more input into anything that she has going on, she wouldn't be executing her talent in the proper form. And I'm not gonna lie, I do kind of agree, because I think Nicki Minaj prides herself on writing her raps, having a talent, breaking barriers for women, and truly being an icon. On the other side, Cardi B doesn't necessarily represent that, and I think that's why the beef continues, because it's almost like real doesn't recognize real. Cardi B's success in the music industry is way more contrived, way more inorganic, and way more social than it is music-based. And for a true artist like Nicki Minaj, I agree that it would be difficult for her to conceal how one-of-a-kind she is in music for somebody who she feels shouldn't be on the same level as her. And I think Cardi B knows this. Cardi B has been very transparent about not being as motivated to be in the music industry, having most of her music being written for her, and also benefiting from the social media era to assist in her push to mainstream success. And I think from Nicki's viewpoint, it's just not as respected, and therefore the beef continues, because essentially I think Nicki did her job in working with Cardi when she first came out to at least throw her a bone in a sense, but to also put that line of demarcation of the real rap artists versus the ones that are not as legitimate. I always talk about rappers writing their lyrics because I think that's what makes a rapper a rapper. When you're a singer, more times than not, somebody wrote the song that you're singing, and because your voice is your talent and not necessarily your writing, singers get a pass in being known for singing songs, even if it's written by somebody else. But in the rap game, I personally feel that to be considered a rapper, you have to write your lyrics, your bars, and have a unique delivery. People argue that everybody in the industry gets help writing, and that's fine. There's always going to be a team of writers to start a project or put in fill-in words or whatever. But I think there is a clear difference between that versus the majority of your content being conceived for you. And I think the beef between Nicki Minaj and Cardi B is ongoing because there's a respect factor that isn't there due to both ladies having a rap career that has different origins and a different caliber of legitimacy in the rap industry. Now, my third and final point is what now? Basically saying what happens now that they have this beef. We all have seen how this beef has panned out for the past 5 years. Both ladies still throw shade sometimes. They don't really ever mention each other's names. However, because like I said, that so many other female rap artists have joined either Team Nicki or Team Cardi, they kind of hash things out for Nicki and Cardi. In 2022 especially, it seemed like it was Cardi and the gang going up against Nicki and the gang on many occasions. Yet the only people who were really battling were other female rap artists who have public support for either side. And for me, I can't really be all the way biased because I like to look at things from all sides. So even though, yes, I am a Nicki Minaj fan, and I will say that, I feel that more women in business should understand that nobody should ever force your hand or influence your opinion other than yourself. Of course, I could get backlash or flack or burn bridges for all of my opinions on any female artist that I have discussed. However, I think it's important to be firm in how you feel about the reality of a situation and not suppress your thoughts and your point of view for somebody who is technically a stranger. And what I see sometimes with the rap girls having these flare-up beefs every few months is that a lot of them are riding for either side instead of just being honest about how they feel or what may be right or wrong. And I guess that's the hard part about being a fan of female rap music, because of course I would want to work with a lot of the people that I have spoken about. However, standing in your thought process and beliefs is more important than anybody else because nobody is perfect. None of these ladies are perfect, and they both have contributed to the beef in good and bad ways. So I think what other rap artists should do now is show how they themselves can be iconic, or they themselves can be individually influential, or they themselves can captivate their own audiences without the thought that they need to be cool or even at odds with anybody that is a big name artist. I feel like because of the whole Cardi B versus Nicki thing, the last few years in the female rap industry have kind of come off performative. Of course, some of these girls come out and they have a good moment of time and a good buzz, but they're not lasting because they're too focused on trying to please the powers that be versus becoming their own individual icon. I think when it comes to business, who you know and forming decent relationships does matter, but I don't think it should be the only ingredient to your individual success. So I don't want current female rappers or those who are pursuing the industry to be so consumed with trying to please everybody per se, because what we're going to need in the female rap industry once both of these ladies move on are figures that can replicate their level of success, artists that can create timeless music and have a set of characteristics that made them stand out from the rest. And I'm not seeing that as much as I wish I would, because it's like a lot of people don't value individuality. They value being co-signed and value wanting a feature from these bigger artists. Of course, I think it should be a goal to want to work with either or, but I don't think it should be the only priority, because if your claim to fame is somebody hopped on your song and blew you up, that doesn't always result in you actually sticking in the industry or just amongst your fan base. So what I think should happen now from the fans' point of view is people continue to be the Barbs or Barty Gang or whatever, but also recognize the talents that are in the industry or coming into the industry that have the ability to stick with or without a collaboration or a co-sign. And what I think should happen from an industry point of view is the labels putting more emphasis on the female artists who have real talent and real star power, and develop that into an independent stardom that isn't focused on whether or not Nicki Minaj or Cardi B hopped on their song or co-signed them. Because the idea of co-signing to me has been good for the fact of collaboration, but I think it's also made a lot of artists just blow up and be momentarily viral versus them being individualistic on their own before their name is in the same sentence as a bigger artist. And I actually see more of that on the male rapper side than the female rapper side, but I do see it all around. The last thing I want to say is touching on the careers of both Nicki Minaj and Cardi B. In my unpopular opinions video, I spoke on how I feel both ladies should retire. I do think both ladies have done more than enough. I think they've broken barriers, and I think they both have solidified themselves as female rap figures that will forever be dignified in their own ways. But I don't mean retire right this second. Like, that's not what I mean. What I should have said is that I think both ladies should actually look towards the outgoing parts of their careers, and not that they need to stop dropping music. I would never say that, let alone want that, but I think they should consider the home stretch of what type of impact they want to leave. And I feel like both ladies know that they've done record-breaking things within female rap, hence why I said I feel that they've done enough or done a lot. Of course, there's always more to do. I would never police somebody's impact, but I think me as a female rap fan gets tired of both of their ambiance being suppressed by this beef, because the fans make it annoying for both sides to just exist in the industry. So no, I don't want them to retire per se, and they don't need to, but I think that if this beef never squashes, then female rap continues to be a bit mediocre a little bit longer. And I think that because when I see who is the mainstream, it seems like a lot of people can only discuss Cardi B versus Nicki Minaj and where they fall in that argument being a factor on what their career is, who they get to work with, and how much people like you. I think squashing their beef would elongate both of their careers. Not that they would need that, but I think it would be positively perceived if they did. And again, it has nothing to do with their age. I don't think the age of either should be a limit for them to stop their careers. But as it relates to putting out music, I think Nicki Minaj should give us one more album, hopefully win a Grammy for it, and then not necessarily retire from music, but I want to see Nicki as the boss, the label owner, somebody who has artists under her and still dropping singles, but doing it through that lens. As for Cardi, I predicted that she wouldn't drop an album, but there is a contractual side to everything, so she's gonna have to give her label that second album. But I do think that after that, she should retire into the more entertainment side of her appeal, so acting, fashion, things of that nature, because according to Cardi, she doesn't really care that much to do music. I think both ladies should definitely still perform and do tours, especially because for Nicki, her music is timeless, and for Cardi, she's a great entertainer. But I do want to see both ladies evolve more than solely putting out music. So maybe I should not have said retire. I think what I meant was evolve and expand, because I do want to see the other side to their appeals. Both Cardi B and Nicki Minaj have a symbolic status to their respective fan bases, so why not see the other side to their celebrity that doesn't have to be as messy as the music side has been for both of them. All in all, the Cardi B versus Nicki Minaj beef is like the Cold War. Both sides are at odds, but they don't really attack in combat at this point. I think it would be completely iconic if they squash their beef, because I do think the hostility affects female rappers and the fans more than people consider it. I'm not Raven-Symoné Baxter, but if I can see into the future, one day I do think they'll be able to set aside their differences and hopefully mend some of the disparities that may have come about because of their beef within the female rap industry. So that is it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed. Please let me know your commentary on my commentary down below. What do you think? What do you know? Let me know. If you haven't already, go stream my song Ballin'. It is out on all platforms, link down below, and also make sure you check out the music video. And last but not least, make sure you're following me on all of my social media networks, and I will see y'all in my next video. Bye, y'all.
New freestyle to your checklist. Pull it to your block like I play Tetris. Quiet, ho, let me finish my sentence. 10 that they see like I'm from Memphis. Going big like I'm from Texas. Life is being blessed and exit. Made that boy make me his bench press. Now he breathless. Green, white, green when I be reppin'. Nardo wickin' when we steppin'. Dirty niggas I'm rejecting. Make me teach teach your ass a lesson. I'ma call him when I need some money, I ain't tryna wait. Mansion in the motherland, bitch, leave it by the gate. My brother counting money up, my sis driving the getaway. It's Queen Chioma trigger, cause you know I make it ricochet. Told y'all it's a ceremony, every day a cabaret. Get out my way, I'm out the way, they say I'm out the ordinary. All my favorite cousins up, they round the way and on the way. Had to come to auntie house, cause last time I did 20 I said I'ma call him when I need some money, I ain't tryna wait. Mansion in the motherland, bitch, leave it by the gate. Call my favorite cousins up, they round the way and on the way. Had to come to auntie house, cause last time I did 20K, yo. Chioma, they don't know who they messing with. I be where the blessings is, my pockets never deficit. You can't touch all this excellence, you gon' need a prerequisite. You gon' need some relevance, so cut it OT Genesis. Pack in the mail from my boys in Abuja. Big, meaty, spicy, juicy, baby, call me Suya. I said 24/7, we stacking, racking. I'm a bad bitch, you fraction, lacking. Counting bread while he playing Madden. I'm in the building, bitch, what's happening? Queen Chioma, pure satisfaction. I'm really a vet, these joints need practice. Running circles around them, we laughing. QTM girls like camera action. Wanna book the girls, you need 1,000 Andrew Jackson.